Good morning. Our truth bomb today is you can and you will. And I have a little bit of stuff laying around there. Good morning. You can and you will, so says the truth bomb. A little bit late for Sunday. Hold on. Hey, Catherine, I got your message. I haven't read it yet. Oop. Turn around. There. Hey everybody. Saw your Facebook message pop up. Catherine, I'll read it. And I'm making you a public promise that I will have the essential oil class written and to you by 5 o'clock tonight, my time. Publicly promised, so I can't put it off. I've had a hard time writing lately. I've been really, not lazy, but unfocused. I know, right? So lazy. What a slacker. Someone needs to talk to my supervisor about my inconsistency. I'm going to be here every day, without fail. Until I leave my phone in the car, then sorry. What a slacker. Business stuff. Good morning. Yes! Okay, it felt really weird yesterday. So yesterday was a weird technology deprivation day. It was really strange. So I left my phone in the car, which I never do. It's like my blankie. I never hardly ever let it out of my sight. So, so Morgan drove off with it, and she was already gone, and I was like, oh my God, where's my phone? Then I had a toddler meltdown because holy crap. And then, but then I was like, okay, well, at least I have the internet, so periodically when the twins are busy, I can check in on Facebook and get my fix. Well, then at 1 o'clock, the cable went out. So no internet, no TV. It was horrible. It was like the beginning of the apocalypse. I was checking the backyard for zombies. I was like, this has to be the end of the world. Because I don't have my phone. And now I can't get to Facebook. I seriously had about a 5 or 10... Oh, I had about a 5 or 10 minute like... What? And then it actually felt pretty good. The twins were napping, and I made myself get up after they were asleep for a little bit, even though I wanted to go to sleep, because I wanted to binge on Deadliest Catch. And then the cable went out. Do you know what I was forced to do? Read a book. I had to read an actual paper book. Yeah, like a caveman. Like a cave woman. I was reduced to reading paper. A paper book, even. A paper book. I felt horribly deprived. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is what I used to do. And this feels pretty good. So, and then of course, once I got over my fit, settled down, found a book, sat down to read. I read like 5 minutes and the twins woke up. But it was a good reminder that technology needs to be limited. For me. I'm not going to tell anybody else to do with their technology. But for me, I need limits on it because I overdo. I have that addictive overdue personality. Too much one way, then too much the other way. It's hard for me to find the middle ground. So, let's read an actual paper book. Last time we talked about her story, Elk Talk. Sorry, I forgot. I'm not going to do an oil scope today because I'm lazy. And then there's 2 more days to sign up for the Girls Desire Map workshop. And it's called I Decide. You can find it. I have a little garden dirt on my fingers. I'm not totally lazy for real. I'm kind of. I'm inconsistent. How about that? idecide.eventbrite.com. That's for ages 13 to 16. You can sign up for that until, I think, Tuesday night. I have 2 girls in there right now, and they get their own copy of the Desire Mac book, the paperback book. Thank you. Thank you. And, oh yeah, I got my cup over here too. You can find me there at that website that Tanya just put up. So the girls get their own paperback copy of the book, a journal, 2 oils, the Citrus Fresh and Stress Away oils, and they get the same program that a lot of their moms and one of their dads has taken. But it'll be adjusted to how to handle peer pressure, what do you do with dating, how do you say no when your friends all want you to say yes, good morning. We'll be talking about it in those kinds of terms, because that's where their focus is, right? 13 to 16, they're focused on, how to set limits in dating, how to say no when a boy wants you to do more than you feel comfortable doing, how to know what you feel comfortable doing, how to ask your parents for assistance. You got to walk a fine line with teenagers. Right? You want to teach them, but not overteach them. Teach them how to handle stuff, but not put ideas in their heads. It's tricky stuff. Yeah, keep telling mom everything. I will talk to them because they are 13 to 16. I do have to have the discussion with them that their stuff can be confidential to a certain degree, but if they're disclosing anything that's at all risky or whatever, then parents have to get told. Yeah, I can totally be the buffer. If Morgan had a buffer, I had a friend who was the buffer. She could talk to her about birth control and stuff that I didn't really want to hear about. She wouldn't have talked to me about it anyway, but I did say, we had that arrangement. Like, there's going to be things you don't feel comfortable talking to mom about, so you can talk to her about them, or her. She had a couple of people she could call if she needed to talk about things that were too uncomfortable to talk to her mom about. That's important. So, the Elk Talk story, we talked about where she sent her short story in and it was rejected, and then a few years later it was sent in by a fancy pants agent and it was accepted with love and accolades, which was weird. So the second chapter in that story is The Beautiful Beast. Thanks for the shares and the hearts. I think I might, after nearly a year, break 1 million hearts. Speaking of inconsistent, the heart counter thing is ridiculous. So, how do we interpret this tale of the elk story? The cynical interpretation would be, and I'm prone to cynicism. I'm close. I'm prone to cynicism in the worst way, and it really is something that I try to be aware of. So, this would probably be my interpretation. The cynical interpretation of her story event would be, this is unequivocal evidence that the world is a place of deep unfairness. Because look at the facts. Lois Rosenthal didn't want Elk Talk when it was submitted to her by an unknown author. But she did want it when it was submitted by a famous literary agent. Therefore, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Talent means nothing, connections mean everything, and the world of creativity, like the greater world itself, is a mean and unfair place. If you want to see it that way, go right ahead. But I didn't. On the contrary, I saw it as another example of big magic, and again, a witty one. I saw it as proof that you must never surrender. That no doesn't always mean no, and miraculous turns of fate can happen to those who persist in showing up, and persist in showing up even when you don't want to. There's days where we don't want to do our daily practice. We don't want to hold ourselves accountable for what's going on in our heads. We don't want to be responsible to anything or anyone, even ourselves. But you still have to show up. Even if you just show up for 5 minutes, you still stay in the habit of showing up for yourself. You keep your promise to yourself. You keep your commitments to yourself. You have to put that stuff first, even when you don't feel like it. And even when you don't feel like it is when you really, really need to keep your promise to yourself that you're going to show up and do something every day. So just try to imagine how many short stories Lois was reading back in the 90s. We all like to think our work is original and unforgettable, but it surely must run together after a certain point. Moreover, I don't know what kind of mood she was in when she read Elk Talk the first time. She might have read it at the end of a long day, or after an argument with a colleague, or just before she had to drive to the airport to pick up a relative she wasn't looking forward to seeing. I don't know what sort of mood she was in when she read it for the second time either. Maybe she'd just come back from a restorative vacation. Maybe she'd just received elating news. Who knows? All I do know is that when Lois Rosenthal read my short story for the second time, it echoed in her consciousness and sang out to her. But that echo was only in her mind because I had planted it there several years earlier by sending her my story in the first place, and also because I had stayed in the game even after the initial rejection. It's really important, that part. She sent her work out having no idea if it was going to be accepted or not. Hi, Kathy. She sent it out not knowing where it was going to go, and when it was rejected, she kept sending it out. By doing so, she set up a situation that later in life resulted in a success because she kept putting it out there and she kept showing up. She didn't quit. In the face of all those rejection letters, she didn't give up. Stephen King fans are really grateful that when he threw the manuscript to Carrie in the trash can and said, "I'm done," because he was on like his a zillionth rejection, his wife dug it back out of the trash can, and said, "No, this is good, keep going." And he did. So I'm so grateful to Stephen King's wife for digging the Carrie manuscript out of the trash can, because that's where it went, and that's where it would have stayed. And that would have been a loss to people who love his work. I have sometimes love his work. Sometimes I don't. It's a little too much for me. Yeah, he'd had it. He'd had so many rejection letters, couldn't take it anymore. He was done. So hopefully we all have someone in our lives when we say, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm done. That we have someone that'll say, no, you're just having a bad day. Just, watch some TV and keep going. Okay, so this event also taught me that these people, the ones who stand at the gates of our dreams, are not automatons. They're just people. They make mistakes. They read and get out of things the same thing we do. Some days we get a lot out of a book, and other days we're like, well, that was 2 days of time I can never get back. And then later, we sometimes read that same book years later and get all kinds of insight. That's happened to me numerous times where I've read a book and been like, whatever. And then a few years later, pick it up and go, how did I not see this 3 years ago? How did this can't be the same book? It rewrote itself while it was sitting on my bookshelf. So they're whimsical and quirky. They're a little different every day, just like us. There's no neat template that can ever predict what will capture any one person's imagination or when. You just have to reach them at the right moment. But since the right moment is unknowable and unpredictable, you have to maximize your chances. Play the odds, put yourself forward in stubborn good cheer, and then do it again and again. We don't know when the magical confluence of events is. I don't think that's the right word. But we don't know when the synchronicity is all going to come together and put us at the right place at the right time. And if we're hiding under our covers with our two best friends, Ben and Jerry, we're not going to find it. Because it won't be able to find us because we will effectively have hidden ourselves from the whole universe. The effort is worth it. Because when at last you do connect, it's an otherworldly delight of the highest order. Because this is how it feels to lead the faithful, creative life. And this is where it gets hard. You try and try and try and try, and nothing works. And it's very discouraging. And I have total empathy for this. Because I go through this myself. Because I'm like, God damn it. I try and try and try, and nothing works. But you have to keep going. Because eventually something will work. You keep trying, you keep seeking, and sometimes in the least expected place and time, it finally happens. You make a connection. Out of nowhere, it all comes together. Making art does sometimes feel like you're holding a seance or like you're calling out in the night for a wild animal on the prowl. What you're doing seems impossible and even silly, but then you hear the thunder of hooves and some beautiful beast comes rushing into the glade searching for you just as urgently as you've been searching for it. You must keep trying. You must keep calling out in those dark woods for your own big magic. You must search tirelessly and faithfully, hoping against hope to someday experience that divine collision of creative communion, either for the first time or one more time. Because when it all comes together, it's amazing. When it all comes together, the only thing you can do is bow down in gratitude as if you've been granted an audience with the divine, because you have. The daily practice stuff is set up to keep you going when you're in that try, and nothing works. It's set up to cover you and keep you going on the days when you're just like, I just don't want to write another word. I don't want to work on my website. I don't want to draw. I don't want to. Sometimes that's we've overgiven and the giving and receiving cycle is off balance and we need to pull back and refill our own tanks. Sometimes that's when you're welcome. Sometimes that is when we have been putting out a lot of creative energy and we just have to stop. A mini depression can sometimes stop us in our tracks so that we let our work simmer and stop picking at it. Sometimes as artists we can keep picking at our work and never declaring it done or good enough. And by doing that, we delay getting it out there and we tend to ruin it. So, on the days where you just can't do it, don't do it. The only thing you need to do is remember to do whatever your daily practice is, whether that's showing up here or doing morning pages, 3 pages of free, stream of consciousness writing before you do anything else, a little meditation, draw a card, whatever your daily practice is when you have that grumpy time. Hi, Heath. Honor your daily practice and honor that you need a break. If you're feeling grumpy and resentful and tired, you need a break. Heath and I talked about this morning, like we've overgiven. Yeah, this is a good book for getting unstuck. We've overgiven lately in various areas and now we both feel a little burnt out and grumpy today. So we're just like, we just need to pull back and not keep putting out and refill our, let our tanks refill and recognize when someone truly needs help and when we're just in the habit of helping. We get in a habit of seeing a need and stepping in to help. And I think for both of us, we need to be better at waiting for people to ask for help rather than just offering, rather than just saying, hey, here, this will help you. So that can get to be a habit, and there needs to be discernment and meditation and consideration before just handing things out. Yeah. I'm a little funky today, partly because Morgan's birthday dinner was last night. Instead of going to a restaurant, Heath and I surprised her by taking all of her favorite breakfast foods, because breakfast for dinner is her favorite meal. So we cooked a huge thing. There was, pancakes, all, gluten-free stuff, but lots of sugar and carbs. So I have a little food hangover grump today. But I've definitely been in those places where I'm just not interested. It was fun. Now we have carb hangovers. But if you feel that, just do your daily practice, do the best you can do, and then take a break. Because sometimes what happens, and my dad used to tell me this when I was learning guitar, that when you're learning guitar or a new skill, you learn and learn and learn and learn, and then you hit a wall where you're just like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. This sucks. I want to throw the guitar out the door. when you get like that, you step away from it and go do something else. You still do something, but you go do something different. And when you come back, your skill level has jumped. And I was like, whatever. I didn't really believe that. But it's really true. And it's true with everything. I've taken a drawing break. I haven't drawn in weeks. I know that when I go back to drawing, something will be different because it happens like this all the time. So when you're doing a spiritual practice and growing, when you're doing personal growth stuff and you're pushing and you're growing and you're blasting through stuff and you're processing lots of emotions, you hit a point where you hit some massive resistance. Sometimes that is because you are resisting an actual breakthrough. A lot of times it's because you get learning overload. And you're just like, I gotta stop. And the difference is, it's so personal. I don't think it can be cool. Ben, I don't know if Ben is still on here, but he draws mandalas too. Really pretty stuff. But you pull back and you take a break, and then you're going to know if you're resisting some more growth or if you just need to pull back and take a break. For integration, it's an integration break. I'm such an introvert, it wouldn't matter. You'd still probably just see me on Periscope. I never leave the house if I can avoid it. So when you take a break and you come back, you'll generally be up a level. Oh, a bike ride sounds fantastic. That's a great way to handle it. Go get outside, put your feet in the dirt, go to a park, take a hike, preferably in a forest is my ideal. Go to the beach if you're fortunate enough to live close to one. You'd be like, open the door. I know you're in there. You get out of your jammies and wash your face. Yoga is also good. And Tanya'd be that person that you just have to open the door to, too, because she would not be denied. She'd be that friend that wouldn't let you lay in Netflix binge for too long. You and Catherine, I think, are the most patient people I have ever known. Yeah, that's pretty normal. So today is going to be a couch potato day at our house, other than laundry and household chores and working on the essential oil class. If you guys are interested in learning about essential oils for emotional well-being and personal growth, find me on Facebook and friend me, and I'll add you to the class. You can unfriend me later if you want, but we have to be friends for me to add you into the class. And I'm at facebook.com/L Michelle Wolf. Yeah, and we're talking about on April 7th the emotional uses for essential oils. Persistent. And then the girls group, 2 more days for that. idecide.eventbrite.com, ages 13 to 16, girls only. Time's running out to sign up for that. I have 2 girls in that class. I'd like to see 2 more. I think 4 would be a great number for that class. It's, I'm there. My page is public. It's L Michelle Wolf. 2 L's, 2 F's. You can also Google Michelle Wolf Facebook and I'll come up. I'm in there. Okay, that's a short scope today. That's what we do, right? We don't have 100% energy, so we show up, we do our thing, keep our promises to ourselves, and offer what we can, and then take a break. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, it's just like in my handle. It's only first initial L, and then Michelle Wolf, just like in my handle. And since I've been giving that out, I've been getting an awful lot of scandalous friend requests. But fortunately, you're welcome. Thank you. Enjoy your time today. Fortunately, Facebook gives you the option to delete friend requests. Yeah, but see, Facebook lets you screen that out. Periscope doesn't, and that's frustrating to me. Hugs to you, too. May you become unstuck. All right, love you guys. Have a great, great Sunday. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a twin day, so again, we'll take what we get. Have a great day.